Hey everyone, this is Bick Benedict. We're playing Dead Space 3 on Impossible difficulty, Chapter 18, Kill or Be Killed. So over here, this is the standard corpse on the ground that doesn't animate until you get close to him, and you also can't shoot him until you get close to him. Make sure you kill this guy quickly, and then turn around, and depending on this guy's location, start shooting him or stasis him. I have the stasis attachment on the left gun that I'm using here, but I don't put it on the plasma cutter because I think it's a little bit too easy to have that attachment. I don't know if you could put it on both. I imagine you could. Yeah, you probably could put that attachment on both. So sometimes when I'm using the secret rifle, it looks like it's stasising the enemies with the bullets, so that might carry over to both of your weapons, like the secret rifle and the kinetic projector that I have on the left weapon slot. Not really sure exactly how that works, but if I were doing a hardcore run, I would definitely put that stasis attachment on every single gun that I was using. Because even though I feel it's a little bit cheap on this difficulty mode, you know, anything that could save you on a hardcore mode is definitely worth it. Definitely worth investigating. So there's no checkpoint between this fight and the next fight that's going to be coming up, in which precedes the little puzzle we're going to be doing to open the door. There's a text log right there. I'm not going to read it. I'm not interested in reading while I'm playing a game. So here's a medium med pack. I'm going to have to drop something to start carrying that, but after the next fight, and then once we go through the door, we're going to be facing some of those pickaxe foes, and the stalkers, all of whom are the elite versions of themselves. So that's not even a word, is it? Themselves. So if you want to equip the scope and put it on your secret rifle, it could help you a little bit. It helped me a little bit the times that I was using it, but whatever you carry over from checkpoint to checkpoint sticks, so you would have to keep going back to the bench every single time if you died, and I'm just not interested in doing that. So we're going to have some guys breaking out from this hole over here, so stasis these guys, and by now you should be familiar with how this game works. An enemy spawns, then you turn around and one or more enemies spawns behind you. So in this case, we had a couple spawners right behind me. This guy right here, who got in a nice cheap hit right there. And then we have another guy in the rear right there taking it up. So I'm going to stasis this guy and see if I can move around him if possible, or just do that double jump. The little roll. The roll helps out sometimes. It's not, well, I think it's whatever the game makers intended for it to be. It's less than what it actually ended up being. That's what I feel anyway. But it still works decent sometimes. Anyway, so now we do get a checkpoint. You can go around the environment smashing bodies, going to the bench, getting items. And we're going to do this puzzle over here. These puzzles are just so lame. So I pretty much just edit them out. I just edit until I get it right. And now we're going, this is a tough fight. But it's not tough because it's challenging. It's so cheap. It's so badly made with just so much. I mean, all these enemies, they pretty much sucker punch you, and it's not even fair. But I'll show you a pretty good way to deal with these guys. The first guy, the first stalker, he's going to come delimbed. So he's going to be. You could hear these guys. They make a distinct sound. So these guys take 2 shots, even if you have your secret rifle up to the max. So there's the guy that comes delimbed. Gonna get a couple of those guys. Now that right there, you can't control something like that. They're just jumping on. They're just jumping like through the geometry right there. Now I'm gonna be standing in this little alcove. But whenever I see an enemy, whenever I see a pickaxe foe, I'm gonna go over here and see how those guys bust out of that window right there. And they'll bust out of the window even if a stalker is rearing in for you. And what happens is these guys, they like to jump in and out of this hole here. So if they jump in the hole, just go and approach the hole, then they'll jump out. You back off, they'll jump back in the hole. So it's just one of those games you got to play with these guys. See, what the hell was that? That's so cheap. Now this guy's going to go back into the hole like a sissy. Now to get them out of the hole, I'm going to have to approach the hole, then back off when I get close to it, and then just take them out with some powerful shots here. You saw me standing over there in the corner over there. If you stand over there, just make sure you keep moving the camera to the right to see if these guys jump out of the hole right there. I mean, this is pretty effective. I mean, it's not going to deviate too much if you're following my strategy. It will deviate a little bit. So no more guys coming from the hole. If you just stand back here, you're never going to have the stalkers rushing at you. So there's a stalker right there. He was kind of trapped in some corners right there. Not sure why he only took one hit, but if you're standing over here, make sure you're continually moving the right analog stick over to the right so you can see if anyone's coming out of that hole right there that I'm aiming at. But sometimes the pickaxe foes, they come from the left. So if they come from the left, it's a lot easier to see them. But they're not going to come to you from your immediate left, since we have some rubble to the left. So to stasis these guys, 2 shots, even a headshot, it takes 2 headshots for these guys. See, that's fine. If these guys want to spawn right there, that's fine. And then this guy decided to spawn right there. He grabbed me. I knew I would survive this, but if I had any lower health, I would not have survived it. I think if you do that animation and it's such a risk, they should just die. See, they all run back into the hole right here. It's bizarre. So I should have stasis these guys. This guy wasn't even moving. I mean, so this is a pretty good for a part here that is so cheap, and this is a hard thing to get a strategy going for here, because you saw these guys just spawn out of thin air, and there's just no telling where they're going to spawn. I mean, there's a couple of set in stone spawn points, but I mean, some of the times you saw that guy just walking towards me. He must have burst out of a hole down the hall or something, or he just materialized. One of the two, I'm not sure. But until the music stops, just until that battle music ends, don't let down your guard here. So these guys are. It always is suspenseful when they're running at you. See, I missed that stasis shot right there, but all they do is they just run in a straight line at you. You stasis them, and then you make sure you have your reload. Fortunately, was that the end of it? No, not the end of it. But when they rush at you, just stasis them. Or it could have been I'm not sure if it was the end of it. Just stasis them and then shoot them twice. Very easy. Yeah, so that was the end of the battle. And now I'm going to go show you the high yield point for this right here. It's right around this corner over here. So there's nothing else to worry about. You're going to get a checkpoint in the next room. So just go around, find all these hidden boxes, stomp on all the corpses that you've killed, and then we're going to be doing this puzzle to go into the next door here. And this right here, I believe that's somewhere, it's an alien artifact. But yeah, that's a tough room, only because it's just so unpredictable, and dare I say it, cheap. There's another hidden box right there. Getting a lot of tungsten now that we're ending this game. One more chapter after this, and we should be concluding this final entry in the Dead Space series. Okay, so we're going to solve that puzzle, and then we're going to be doing a little bit of flying. In these things right here, sometimes to the left and to the right there's some objects. Looks like to the right was the object this time. To interact with these, you simply stand on the platform and it'll do it for you. Some of these have mines in the air, but some of them you pretty much just set the controller down and just let it go from point A to point B. Probably shouldn't want to do that on a hardcore run. Let's see if the mines appear. Yeah, see the mines right here? I'm not even wasting ammo on those things. I've never died over here. It's very easy, but if you're not paying attention on a hardcore run, you could probably, if you're at chapter 18, you're fucked for sure. This second section right here, I've done this a couple of times because I went to the save point after the checkpoint. I didn't let the checkpoint load. So what we have here, you can hear the mines. I love how you can hear everything in this game and you know what's coming just by the sound. So there's a mine right there, and then I'm just going to stay over here. I'm going to fall back. That's kind of unavoidable sometimes. These guys are they're so crazy. They go all over the place. But this is a pretty good spot to stand. I mean, there may be better spots, but this served my purposes well. Both times I did this part, it's not very tough. We have delimbed. We have delimbed stalkers coming at us, and then these guys. Again, it's 2 shots in the body with the secret rifle at maxed out damage values. So you also may have observed that exploder who came out. There's going to be 2 exploders. They'll either just come down the way, or they'll come out of the hole over there to the right. No real issues. I mean, these guys are made well, and I love fighting these guys. It's because they peek around the corner, and then that's your indication to prepare yourself. And then a second later, they start screeching and running at you in a straight line, and you just stasis them, or just hit them. I just stasis them to be careful. Sometimes also, I have gotten to predicaments where I've shot. I didn't stasis the guy. I shot him once, and then I got caught in a reload, and then he jacked me up. So here's the second of the 2 exploders. Hit him a little bit too close for comfort right there, but it's okay. We're gonna get through this section. We're gonna get through the chapter and this game. So I've always felt that if you have the secret rifle all the way up, these guys should be a one-hit kill on the body, or perhaps just on the head. If you get a headshot on them, it should be it should be that way, but it's not. In Dead Space 2, it's the same way. So they're not changing any of the rules in this game. So this fight, we have a couple of these are semi-challenging. I mean, I might even not go as far as to say challenging, but once all the enemies are cleared, just watch out for these mines. It's not instant death if you're at full health, or 3/4 of health. I also did discover that if you're holding down the R3 button and then you press left or right on the directional pad, the D-pad, you can actually have it direct you to benches and suit kiosks, just like in Dead Space 2. Although there weren't suit kiosks in that game, everything was a lot more streamlined in that game, I thought. But I've always been a big fan of Dead Space 1. People are just crazy about how awesome Dead Space 2 is, and have you guys ever played Dead Space 1? I want to tell these people, because that game's even better, in my opinion. It's all subjective, but Dead Space 2 is a fantastic game. I'm just saying that it's a little bit too big for me, too epic. I like the grittiness of the first one. It's much scarier, in my opinion. So there's that final cyst right here. And then when we come down here, I believe some of these cysts will, because I believe I shot all the cysts down here, or the mine. They're called mines, actually, aren't they? But there's the high yield bot locations. So set that thing down, and for some reason now I could set 3 bots down at any given time. I don't know how I got that perk. If anyone knows, I would be interested to hear. So if you know the answer to that, I would appreciate you imparting your wisdom to me and let me know, because for the most part in this game, I've only been able to set 2 down, and then it would say you have the maximum number of bots out. So I'm not sure if it's an attachment I have on or something. Not really sure. Anyway, wait for this lift to go and go down to your level. Then we're going to be going up here. You get a checkpoint. The thing I mentioned earlier is that I was redoing this section because I did not have enough ammo. For the first time in this game, I didn't have enough ammo to deal with this section, and I didn't walk off the lift, and then when I died, they reloaded me back at the previous checkpoint. So make sure you actually do that. There's also, I'm certain that there's some kind of a circuit behind there, but it doesn't appear when I defeat this section here. Now these weather vanes here, they kind of look like weather vanes. These spots right here are for you to interact with the weather vanes, but don't stay on them because you're going to get guys surrounding you. Now we have the slashers right there. I believe we also have exploders coming out, and then we have these creatures right here with the arm. This is a good spot to stand back here. I mean, there's a lot of good spots. Just look around for a spot that no one can sneak up on you. There's plenty of those kind of spots here. And when I say I was almost running out of ammo, or I had run out of ammo, or I didn't have enough ammo, it was only because I didn't put enough from my safe into my inventory. I have like 1,500 rounds of everything. But see, these guys may be on a platform that they can't get to me at. But they could, if they could go around. But a couple of these guys, it's surprising how fast these guys can get like right next to you. They'll be in the distance, and then the next thing you know, they're hitting you, and you're wondering what the hell just happened. See how many bullets I have now? I went back and got some more. But I will explain to you how the puzzles work. There's just one wave of enemies, and I would recommend just coming up here, kill everything, and then do the puzzle, because it's ridiculous to try to do the puzzle with all these things going after you. There's just no way you could do it. So once you start interacting with the puzzle, with manipulating the direction of the weather vanes, I'm just going to call them weather vanes for lack of a better word. There we go. There's a guy right there. You're not going to get interrupted. So, I mean, if you can just do this wave, it's a long wave. It really is. But you can get a lot of loot from it. And also standing back here is going to guarantee that these guys can't shoot projectiles at you. Those stalks right there. So it's a long wave, but it's actually it could be longer. I mean, the longest one in Dead Space 2 was towards the end of the game, right before you face that final brute, and it just went on forever. That's like one of the hardest fights in that game. And looks like we have a couple more exploders way in the distance. So I was wrong about there only being 2 exploders. Looks like there's a quantity of 4 of these guys. Just always stasis those exploders, because even if you're trying to get, like I just did right there, shoot out the grenade hand that they have, it's too risky, especially on hardcore mode. My protocol would always be just to stasis them the first thing, and then back off. Put distance between you and them. But there's a lot of risks in hardcore mode. And I haven't even really looked into it too much, that particular mode. I'm interested to see the unlockable modes. I really am. I think I was also wrong about the stasis and standing on those spheres. You don't get free stasis. It's just that your stasis is amplified. So I was completely wrong about that. I apologize. I don't want to be giving out misinformation. So there's one more stalk over here to kill, and basically what we're going to be doing is connecting these weather vanes to one another via the pieces of architecture at their tips. So some of them will have like a double point. Some of them will have it'll look like I'll show you right up here, like a pitchfork. Some of them might look like a pitchfork. So just connect the symbols. It's actually, it looks a lot more complicated than it is. See that one that looks like a pitchfork? So I need to move this one. You have to stand on the spheres and then hold this until you get your thing connected here. And I think I had to move this one again. Yeah, because there was no, I'm not sure exactly, but okay, so that shape right there needs to line up with this shape here. Then we're going to go Now those are connected, so that one's a go. That one's a good one. Now we have to go to the other sphere and see what we need, what we can connect and what we can disconnect to make this work properly. This last one here. So it looks like we need to not move this. We need the shape that I have right there in the middle piece right there. So this should all snap into place right here. There we go. And I forgot what his name is. He's such a memorable villain that I forgot what his name is. But I swear there's a circuit over here. There's like a purple circuit. I think that switch over there that rises up makes it disappear. So make sure you get that circuit, because I'm almost positive there's a circuit there with like +2 and +2 of something. So I am going to be speeding up a lot of the rest of this footage until we get to the next battle, because you're literally backtracking to the beginning of the level and there are no encounters. There might be some mines that repopulate on the map, but that's it. So there's the heart of the machine right there. And pretty soon I'm going to start speeding this shit up right about now. So it did build up some suspense, because I didn't know if there's going to be any more enemies spawning. You saw right there I took out a mine. That may have been one of the mines I missed, actually. So like this right here, you do need to move out of the way, but there's so much allowance and so much room for it that it's hard to actually get hit there. Anyway, so now this is the room where we were fighting the stalkers earlier. Now I'm going to go to the bench and, get everything situated, and then the slow-mo will stop over here because we're going to be doing the last battle. This is a tough battle. We have a bunch of Rosetta monsters, and then we also have some little baby exploders here. So Stasis, this guy right here, get this guy out. They take about 4 shots and then they're down. And then what you want to do is reload, then look across the way over here, start shooting this guy. But when you see these babies coming at you, switch to your plasma cutter. Hopefully you've got the repeater on so you can just hold it down and have automatic fire. I feel it works the best. And shit like that, that's not really fair. But, in the game's defense, I should be watching all of the corners. But sometimes these spawns are erratic. Also, you saw right there, when these babies near you, they go into exploding mode. So if you get like right next to them and then do your dash away from, or you do your evade by double tapping the L2 button, you could roll away from their explosion, and then they will perish, and then you can not get hit. See, I got trapped into a bunch of corners right here, and I thought I was dead, and I was saying to myself, should I restart this, because it's kind of sloppy here. Then I thought to myself, pretty much whatever kind of successful run I would actually get on tape here, it would be sloppy. Some part of it would be sloppy. So anyway, I think that's the last guy. See, there's just a lot of those guys, and the hardest part is probably those little exploders. It's not those beasts. Oh, another one. So you see how I'm on this, and it intensifies the stasis. It probably stasises these guys for longer. That's all it probably does. But that is the last guy. I remember that very vividly. We also have a high yield resource point to put the bot down over here, and I'll show you right where it is. It's right by the door. Pretty much all the high yield resource points, they all let you do it again. Coming into this level and traversing it and then going backwards, they just let you have the high yield point again. So it's pretty generous in that regard. So that high yield place is right there. We're going to get this box right here. Then we're going to go flying, and you could literally just set your controller down and just wait for it to end, because there's absolutely nothing you can run into. So just stand on this platform right here, and then just wait to go. And then the next fight, we're going to be dealing with some soldiers. So it's kind of a change of pace. Anyway, just yeah, these parts they're kind of blasé. You know, they could be a little bit more engrossing, but I really don't want to do a bunch of these parts that are so hard, like the first. The very first one that we did in this chapter, or in this game, it was pretty tough, and I wouldn't want to keep doing that over and over again. We have another battle coming up. This time we have some soldiers and these Rosetta monsters here. So crouch over here in this area, since you're less exposed in this area. Be aware though that you're going to have some twitchers after you kill these guys. So basically, it's the soldiers fighting the necromorphs, and we're just standing up here picking both of those guys off, and then we're gonna get some twitchers. I think there's about 3 twitchers. I forgot to mention the slashers too. So just take these guys out. They've got a lot of HP, but our secret rifle cuts through all their HP very, very easily and nicely too. So here that's the first slasher right there. He knocked me down. I'm using the kinetic projector on this guy to take him down. I'm waiting for the next guy to appear. Hopefully he doesn't appear behind me, and I think it's actually good because these guys appear. They all just, you see that ramp up there? I think that's where they spawn from, and you'll see them running at you. So I'm going to keep my eye on the right side of the screen. So I'm not sure what I was doing over here. I probably assumed that the spawn wasn't going to carry itself out, but oh, okay, maybe it is just one twitcher. There is a part where there's 3 twitchers. I distinctly remember that. But the next thing we're going to be doing, and then I actually answered my own question over here the first time. A couple of chapters back, I asked my viewers to confirm what this second image meant on the wall over here, but it's another route. It's another area of the game to do. So I assume you could have done this one first, and then the one we did in the last chapter second if you wanted to. I sped this footage up because I honestly don't know how these things work. I mean, you lock onto them, and then you move them with the right analog stick. It just depends which way you want to move them. And they're just very picky about it, but that's the image we want to make right there. And now we're going to activate this switch here, which is going to cause Danik to get very mad. And we're going to see his ship overhead. Then we're going to just go down. We might get the twitchers when we get to the bottom. That might be what's happening here, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I remember when I saw my first twitcher in Dead Space 1, I thought, how the hell am I ever going to beat this game? It was that difficult because you were exploring that abandoned ship.
My reinforcement have arrived.
Oh yeah. He says right here his reinforcement arrived with a big surprise. So this is the big surprise down here. 3 twitchers, all of whom spawn down that ramp. So there's actually a lot of notification, a lot of visual notification of when these guys are coming. But you have to use stasis on these guys. There's the second guy killed. And then the third guy is going to be up to the right. He's going to be spasming and making his way over here. They're an interesting enemy. They really are. They've got those goggles on, and they've got knives for hands, and they're faster than all get out. So here I'm going to collect my loot, stomp on that guy, and then our goal is to go back and do another flying sequence. So just stand on this switch right here, and then we're going to go to the next area. Some of these confrontations are pretty damn difficult. And we'll just have to see which one happens up ahead. We just have one more chapter left, gang, before we finish and wrap this game up. It's like when you're at the end of a book. You just want to just sit there and just until you're done. That's kind of how I'm feeling this sensation here.
You're heading to the machine.
Okay, so we may just have this last room left, or maybe the room before the one I'm thinking about. It probably is. Yeah, this room right here. This is a pretty bad room. I mean, you could do that roll right there, but you see the damage it took right there? You kind of have to take some damage there, unless you're lucky. But I like to stand back here and force at least a couple of these guys to charge me. They will charge you, trust me. It's just that you might not get both of them. There's 4 guys you need to kill, by the way. And standing here kind of forces their hand to charge. You see that guy charged me? But I was pretty consistently standing back there and having 2 guys charge me. And then here we have the age-old problem of not being able to inch around the corner like we can do in every other third-person game and shoot the enemies. We have to expose ourselves before we can actually shoot these guys. So we have to expose ourselves to them, meaning that we could take significant damage. And obviously, I was almost dead right there because this guy has a rocket launcher. Now, that's 3 guys killed. Fuck those shields; they don't do anything. The 3rd guy, it just depends. It's going to differ from time to time, but some of the times this guy will spawn, and then you notice some other guys ran out of the room that we're trying to go to. So I'm going to fall back here now. Now this is the second of 3 waves. These guys are just going to charge you. They're really easy. I'm just using the plasma cutter because I'm just comfortable with it. It's a very versatile weapon, and that just goes to show you how stubborn I am. I could have another weapon. I could have 4 weapons if I wanted to, but I'm only having 3. Just because I'm so used to using the plasma cutter, and if I can't have it rotate, then I really don't even want to have the plasma cutter, or maybe not even play this game. Maybe not that extreme, but this part right here is pretty risky if you want to stand here. But this is what this is designed for. It's the circle right here. It's designed for you to stand on here and just mow these guys and just decimate these guys. But as you can see, they like to run around and shoot you from the sides of the cover. So this, like I said, this amplifies your stasis, meaning that when you do your stasis, they're going to have that animation over their bodies that prolongs the stasis effect. And I already have the stasis module all the way up anyway, so it's going to pretty much, if I can just at least stasis these guys, I'll be in good shape. But what's happening is I'm stationing the cover inadvertently, which is doing no good. So that may have been the last guy. Yeah, that's the last guy. That part's pretty tough if you don't know what's going on, but if you can just in your mind separate the fact that there's 3 waves there, you should be okay. I hate this room. I actually went to the next stage where
okay, now what?
Where the wall climbing is, and then EA said I was off the server, and then I had to quit. But I pressed the wrong button. I didn't have to quit, but I pressed the O button, and then it logged me out. And then I had to start back here again, which just it goes to show you how shitty these save points are. This is a hard fight because we have guys to the left and to the right, both of whom are throwing ice and fire projectiles at us, and then we have that runner right there, so you've got to take that guy out. And I didn't have any healing items over here. I had no healing items. If you're in a position like that, you can actually go back. It's quite far, but you can go all the way back to the bench and outfit yourself with some more healing items. The scope would actually really help out over here. So just stasis these guys when they run down the ramp. It's not that good a cover, but I mean there's really no other cover to be found in this area, and we're just focusing on killing everybody. That's all we're doing here. And those shots right there by those guys take away half your life, so you really have to watch out for that. And I'm just inching around the cover, stasising, trying to get some health drops if I can. But this was just me performing extremely well. Like I said, I had to redo this section, and I just couldn't do it with no healing items. It's damn hard. And I remember getting stasised over here, and it's really unmanning. It really is. It's like getting Azuna dropped by that Ryu clone in Ninja Gaiden. You just feel like you're getting raped. So you see how the scope would really help out here. And here I'm crouching, and right here the stasis, and it froze me right there. So that's a bad predicament to be in, because I think they can shatter you. They might be able to shatter you with their bullets. Even if they can't shatter you, though, they can shoot the hell out of you because you're frozen. The reason I'm using the kinetic projector is because all of these guys can be killed with one shot anywhere on their bodies. So that's the reason I'm doing that. And now this puzzle is pretty simple. We just have 3 batteries to obtain. Each battery has a symbol on it, and the symbols have to, the symbols correspond to the little legend that's overhead in that little scene. When we first came into this room, I'll show you where it is. Pretty much where the battery receptacles are. If you look over that on the archway, it'll show you the order that you need to put these in. So that's the second battery right there. Now we're going to go over here. So if you just do the first, right there, I thought that was a health item. If you just do the first, like in the previous, there was a room previous where we had to just take out a bunch of enemies, and then that was it. It's the same deal here. Just take out all the enemies, and then you could do whatever you want here. You can pull out all the switches, and the game's not going to pull any dirty tricks like it usually does. So this one goes in the first slot actually, but see, if you look up there, it'll tell you which order to put them in. It's one of those first grade puzzles, which this game loves to do, which I love to have exist in this game. Because I'm not here to play The Legend of Zelda, I'm here to play a shooter with really easy puzzles. So I would advise going to the bench prior to the next section. Not that you'll need to, but just because it's a bench, you might as well take advantage of it, because we are going to be going to the final level after we do the climbing section. So over here there's a couple of boxes to grab. And Infernal Machine. I don't know what that is exactly. I don't know if that's just... I have no idea what that... I don't know if I earned that somehow or if it's just a story-based trophy. What I was aiming up there... I thought there was a healing pack up there hiding, so... Anyway, this took me a couple tries. It's not that bad. It's just that you have to do it... You go so slowly here. Wherever the hot spots are, obviously you can't stand on them. But this is as fast as you can possibly go here, so it's really ridiculous. But you don't really need to go fast. They give you enough time. It's pretty generous. These wheels need to be stasised. So stasis these things, and then you have to go when you. Not only do you have to not go on the hot spots, but you have to go in the little crevices in the cogwheel. And you see how that part right there, I can't go. I need to go in the center. So I need to make sure that the cogwheel has a little recess underneath it. See how I needed to wait for that opportunity to line up? I just wish you could go a little faster. Maybe jump upwards. That would help out a little bit. But the hardest part of this is just these cogwheels. But if you've got patience, you shouldn't have much problems with this. I mean, they could have put enemies here and would have been even more disastrous. There was a nice opportunity right there. And now we're going to make sure you head to the right over here, because those are going to obviously light up right there. And then once those stop glowing, they're not going to glow anymore. So up here, the hot spots, don't worry, you're not at any risk. But for the remainder of the video, I'm just going to let the little scene with Ellie and Danik and Carver and everybody play out, and I'll put it in the normal decibel level. But for now, I'll just finish talking about this area up here. There's not much to talk about, except there's a couple of items to grab. And then once you go forward, the story will carry out. And then I'll see you in Chapter 19, entitled Endings.
Ellie! Isaac, don't do it. Don't listen to him.
Give me the codex and you can have her back.
No! Isaac, You know what's at stake.
Okay, everybody calm down, okay? Danik?
Give me the codex, or I will kill her!
No! Isaac, what are you doing? You got a second chance.
If he turns off the machine, we're all dead. Her? Us? Everyone.
Don't let it all go dark, Isaac. There's more than one kind of right.
I've done it. I've finally done it. The darkness is at an end. Let the evolution begin.
When I finish this, it's all going down. Everything. You have to go.
No! You two get out of here. Go back to Earth space. Tell them what we found. I'm staying. That's all I got left.
You can't stop him, Carver. Not without me. I'm the marker killer, remember?
Isaac.
I turned my back on the world because I was afraid of what needed to be done. Ellie, I'm not afraid anymore. There's a shuttle over there. I want you to take it and head for home.
Don't come back for me. We both know I'm not going home. Go!
Oh shit! Damn, this whole thing's coming apart behind us!